Supported by Hyundai Help for Kids and with the help of over 50 volunteers across Australia, the Cervical Cancer Awareness Program for Schools is a free presentation for high school age students. CCAPS, as we like to call it, aims to educate both girls and boys about cervical cancer, the human papillomavirus, and how the HPV vaccine, which students receive in high school, can help protect their health later on in life. While the vaccine is a huge step forward in preventing cervical cancer, without proper understanding of the virus and their reproductive systems, as well as regular screening once they're old enough, women are still at risk of developing cervical cancer.
In your opinion, what's the biggest barrier to eliminating cervical cancer?
The biggest barrier to eliminating cervical cancer is awareness. We need to educate people about what cervical cancer is about and about how we can best prevent it. And perhaps we have to make it clear that it is in fact a very common disease and it's an entirely preventable one.
I think the reason that it appealed to me were two reasons. I'm a teacher, or was a teacher. I don't think you ever actually give up, but I really quite liked being back with the kids. And then as well, I had a personal link in that I had a brush with cervical cancer many, many years ago. Never heard of HPV, I've heard of cervical cancer, I suppose, but the link wasn't really proven then, and I was okay, am okay, but that was the other kind of link for me, and I thought, well, if there's a way I can spread the word to students, to young people, boys and girls, then yeah, I'm there. So
one of the things I found out from being an ACCF presenter that I didn't know before was the important role that the cervix plays in childbearing. So basically, a healthy cervix is required in order to carry a child to full term. I think it is that light bulb moment when women find out that the cervix is really important for childbearing. It makes them pay a bit more attention and realise this is something really important to address and try and prevent anything from happening.
Yes, I did last year in Year 10.
I received the HPV vaccination in grade 8. I vaguely remember getting one in grade 8.
Human papilloid something.
HPV stands for human papillomavirus. HPV stands for human papillomavirus.
I had no clue.
At the time, I had no idea what I was being vaccinated against. Not at the time, I did not.
I first heard about HPV and cervical cancer when I was receiving my immunisations in grade 8, although to be honest I really had no idea what it was. Schools may be interested in the CCAPS program as it is an issue that not everyone is aware of, and it simply empowers students to think about their health and now into the future.
We've been using the CCAPS presentation since 2012. And when I first heard about it, I thought that it was very, very important that we raise awareness of cervical cancer to young people. And I think that's the part of the presentation that is undervalued, is that the presentation highlights that boys need to be aware of cervical cancer as well. It's a very, very important issue that can be easily prevented with immunisation, and it's really a no-brainer. If we can save one person's life, it's been worthwhile.
What you may not know is that 90% of cervical cancer is actually caused by a virus called HPV, human papillomavirus. So you don't need to remember human papillomavirus, just remember HPV. And now HPV and the types that are most likely to cause cervical cancer are sexually transmitted. So HPV is a sexually transmitted virus, but it's very, very common and very, very contagious. It's often referred to as the common cold of sexually transmitted viruses. And the way that HPV works is it actually causes cells in your body, in this case in your cervix, to change and become abnormal. And now we know that that can cause an issue because those abnormal cells, if they were to spread and be left alone, they can develop into cancer. And so that's how HPV causes cervical cancer and other types of cancer. Thanks to ACCF scientific advisor, Professor Ian Fraser, and his life-saving vaccine, we're now one step closer to eliminating cervical cancer. During each CAPS presentation, we tailor the content to suit the maturity and past sexual education of the students, focusing on the HPV vaccine for younger students and looking at sexual health and Pap tests for senior grades. At all ages, we encourage students to make positive and responsible choices about their health now and into the future. Take the first step in eliminating cervical cancer and join teachers around Australia by booking in a CAPS presentation for your students to ensure they know about HPV and how they can prevent cervical cancer.